Yo guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't done it already, please hit the subscribe button. But we've got a special guest. Yeah, this guy is an OG in this thing. Yeah, if you think music, you think Jay-Z. Yeah, this guy is the OG of this whole boxing commentary. Yeah, and let me rattle off some credentials. Yeah, before we get into it. So because some of you guys don't know the levels. Yeah, Sky Sports commentator, Talk Sports commentator and correspondent, done works with Fox, correct me if I'm wrong, Fox in Africa. YouTube's only on nearly 30,000. Listen, we're going to get 30,000 subscribers by September. That is the goal.
Facts.
That is the goal. Yeah. He has one of the best beards in the business as well. Yeah. Without further ado, let me introduce you to Ade OLADIPO. Ade, what are you saying?
Yo, brother, that's a mad intro. In fact, let me give you credit for two intros. Firstly, your own intro for your channel. That's sick, by the way. I'm super impressed. I'm stealing that idea straight away. And thank you for the kind words as well, man. I mean, look, there are so many people doing crazy stuff in this boxing YouTube world that we live in, right? I mean, so like for you to even think of me as one of those guys that are up there, it's a privilege, man, because you know what it's like when you're starting out. So yes, I've got to a stage now where the videos do good numbers and people know who I am. But dude, I remember when the first couple of videos, like 20 views, 10 views, and you know, you do a video you think's a banger and it's like 20 views and like, geez, that was like 30 minutes of real good work and only 20 people watched it. And I swear that was me watching it 20 times. So it's good to get to where we are now, but it's taken a lot of hard work, man, a lot of hard work. But this is the fun part right now. Now you kind of just sit back and continue, and it's fun.
Absolutely. I'm telling you, I've had videos like that where you're thinking this is the banger. Yeah, you know when some musicians write like a lyric book or like a song, and they think this is gonna chart, it is gonna be a banger, yeah. And it goes and it just like it's a car crash. But
it's demotivating as well. I mean, that's why a lot of people, I guess, fall off, right? A lot of people start this thing. And I guess, what are your intentions when you start? But obviously, look, you want to get some good numbers. Like I don't care if anyone tells me, you want to put a video up and you want it to at least get past 100, then it gets to 1,000, then 10,000, whatever. So it can be demotivating when you do, like you say, banger after banger after banger, and you get no love. And then you watch another channel, you think that's shit, but man's getting 20,000, 30,000 views. So it can be demotivating, but you just got to keep on grinding. You just got to keep on grinding.
Absolutely. But fam, this has been a rough couple of weeks in boxing. Last time I spoke, actually put it this way, last time I spoken to you, it was like on a Sunday. I think it was a Sunday live show.
Yeah,
you're having champagne. Everything was good. Yeah, the undisputed bout was going to be announced that week, hopefully. And everyone was doing the prediction, and it was, what was it? I think it was 6-6, or it was even that night. Everybody put in their votes, it was even.
Mad.
Yeah, it went from champagne to Talisker whiskey the next day, straight afterwards, because at 10 p.m. the next day, the word arbitration. To be fair, I ain't gonna lie, I had to Google it. Arbitration. What the hell was arbitration from? I had to look into it. Yeah, the undisputed crashed. And speaking about undisputed, we're gonna talk about that later, but we have an undisputed, and I'll put this right at the top because this is probably one of the most important things out of the rest of them. Josh Taylor becoming undisputed. The rest of it is politics, but this is very, very important. Josh Taylor becomes one of the best British boxers of all time by announcing himself as an undisputed champion against Ramirez. Why don't people give him enough flowers? This is what I'm thinking. Like, why is he not getting enough promotion? Why people don't give him enough flowers? This guy should be back to the hilltops, similar to how some Olympians who come out are backed with a huge promotional platform.
Yeah.
But nobody's talking about this guy is undisputed. This guy is like an undisputed champion, the only male undisputed champion across any male weight class. It's just him.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, it's funny because obviously a lot of people are talking about him potentially fighting Terence Crawford. And some people could argue and say the same thing about Terence Crawford. When Terence Crawford became undisputed at 140, who in America was talking about Terence Crawford? It's very, very similar, right? Unfortunately, boxing doesn't work like that. I mean, the best in the sport aren't always the highest paid in the sport. The best in the sport aren't always the ones that have the most followers. Josh Taylor deserves every single credit for what he's achieved. But if you're not with the biggest promoter over here, you're not going to get that push. If you're not with the biggest broadcaster over here, you're not going to get that push. And he's come up the difficult way. Remember, he was like fighting on Channel 5 when he was with Cyclone Promotions. So that was Channel 5, right? And then he had 1 or 2 fights on BT Sports. And obviously now he's fighting in America. So he's never really had that Matchroom Sky Sports push. He had it for the Regis Prograis fight, but that was because it was the World Boxing Super Series thing. He's never really had a push from a top promoter here, and Eddie would push him. And that's just sometimes how it is. Look, it's unfortunate. And I think it's a bit of a disgrace that BBC Scotland didn't do something with it. I think Sky should have at least bought the rights to show the repeat of it. They didn't do that. BT Sports should have bought the rights to show the repeat. That would have cost like 30 grand. They chose not to do it. I just feel like they think Josh Taylor doesn't make money. They're all about making money now. And maybe they feel like putting the fight on at 4 a.m. on Sky Sports, how many people would have stayed up to watch it? Is it worth it? It's not easy. I mean, it cost a lot to buy the fight, and they've got to get their money back. And maybe they thought at the time that Josh Taylor just doesn't do that. They made a mistake, and I don't think they're going to make a mistake again. But unfortunately, that's how it works now. It's all about pounds and pence.
That's such a shame. That is such a shame with regards to just boxing is no longer a sport. Boxing is now becoming a business. And if it doesn't make you returns on investments and doesn't do the good numbers on the bottom line, we're not going to broadcast. They could have just put it on because Bob Arum promotes him. Of course, I think that week, it was probably diluted with regards to the undisputed politics bout, and I think that took over the week. And he was doing
maybe so, yeah, but what we've got to understand as well is that the biggest broadcaster in the world by far is ESPN. That fight was on ESPN and they didn't even promote it. So as much as we are upset about what Sky and BT are doing over here, and maybe even Channel 5, ESPN are the biggest and they didn't even push the fight. It's embarrassing, honestly. Exactly. It's embarrassing. And but again, look, I mentioned Terence Crawford at the top. Bob can't even promote Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford should be a superstar. Can't promote him. So I don't know, man. Boxing's in a weird space where guys that shouldn't get the credit are getting credit. Look at Logan Paul. I mean, he's going to make millions fighting Floyd. And Sky has shown that, and they're putting on pay-per-view. So again, it's all about business now. And to be fair, boxing always has been, but now even more so.
Absolutely. Where would you rank Josh Taylor amongst the British boxers of all time, becoming undisputed? Because I'm not sure whether any other British boxer, specifically from Scotland, has become undisputed.
Yeah, Ken Buchanan has. Yeah,
okay.
A boxer called Ken Buchanan has, and he's like from the 60s or 70s. So it's happened, but it's difficult because I'm not going to pretend like I can tell you about what a boxer did in 1920, right? I'm not that kind of historian. But if you're thinking of the boxers in sort of the last 20, 30 years, I mean, he has to be right up there with Joe Calzaghe and Lennox Lewis. He has to be.
100%.
Obviously, Joe Calzaghe went unbeaten for a long time. He didn't even get his plaudits until right at the end. And then there's Lennox, who came back from a couple of big defeats and got his belts back and beat the likes of Evander Holyfield and Mike Tyson. So he deserves his plaudits as well. But, I mean, you got to put Josh up there with them. I mean, Josh has had 18 fights and he's cleaned up at 140 pounds. That's ridiculous. I mean, a guy shouldn't be doing that in 18 fights. It's ridiculous. So he's up there with them. That's so
true. That is so true, because Spencer was saying this. I think Spencer Fearer was saying this to me, and he said that Josh Taylor has now become the fastest ever undisputed champion of all time. So he's become undisputed with the least amount of fights in the male division across the whole of history. That is crazy.
It's crazy.
That's
crazy.
Up there. That is up there. But Josh Taylor, congratulations. His performance was very, very good. I scored it a lot tighter than what everybody else was saying. I scored it, was it 115, what did I score it? I just scored it a similar to how the judges scored it. So I had one
Yeah, I
round in
don't think it
between
was
them.
as bad as. I know Josh was upset about the 114, 112. I thought a couple of the rounds were close. And I thought Ramirez was
Yeah,
coming on late as well. Obviously, look, 2 knockdowns, so it should be wide automatically. But I thought Ramirez put up a good fight. And credit to him. Look, Kenny Bayless was obviously, I don't know what he was doing with the counts, but I mean, you've got to
Kenny
give credit to
Bayless.
Ramirez. For Ramirez to get up from that second knockdown and not only to get up, but then to keep fighting. It is credit to the kind of Mexican warrior he is. But again, look, we have to give more
100%.
credit to Josh. Josh is going away from home and beating Ramirez in his backyard, kind of. So you got to give Josh all the credit in the world. It's an incredible performance. He looked really good.
Oh yeah. He looked once he got past the fourth or fifth round, he just looked comfortable. He looked in control. He didn't look like he was getting hurt, jabbing effectively and boxing and moving, getting into the inside pockets, and very, very sharp as well. So all the pointers. That's why I put him right at the top of the bill, because the rest of them does not equate or amount to the success that Josh Taylor has achieved. So
No, it doesn't. No.
congratulations to Josh Taylor as well. This week Saturday, this week Sunday morning, if you're in the UK, we've got the Devin Haney versus De La Linares card. Amongst those on the card, we have a few women boxers. We've got Chantel Cameron and Ramla Ali. Where do you see it? Because I think the women's boxing game is going to be huge in the future. We're talking I'm talking Ronda Rousey type of huge.
Okay.
It's only a matter of time. Got
Yeah.
loads of women's boxers, Katie Taylor, Savannah Marshall. We've got Chantel Cameron, like I said. And we've got a lot of Terry Harper, Rachel Bourne, Shannon Courtney as well. Ebony Bridge. We've got a lot of sort of women boxers in the game. Where do you see the future of women's boxing in particular?
Look, it's gonna be massive. I'm with you. I think it's growing to a point where eventually they're gonna be headlining shows, and guys aren't gonna care because they're gonna be good fights. Like right now, I still feel that there's a bit of stigma if a female fight headlines, everyone's like, oh, what's this nonsense? I don't think they're gonna care. I think that the level of the fights is getting better and better as well. I mean, you mentioned Ebony Bridges there. That fight she had over here was ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? I mean, everyone looked at her and thinking she's just some sort of sex symbol. No, she can fight. And then Katie Taylor and Natasha Jonas recently was a fantastic fight as well. I covered a lot of female boxing in Africa, and I went to go and watch the Olympic trials as well recently at the Copper Box. I say recently, a few months ago at the Copper Box. There's a lot of good female amateurs. The thing is, like most females, I guess the decision comes with, okay, do I want to start a family, or do I want to continue to fight? Like, what is it worth me still fighting? Not just financially, but physically. Obviously, the damage you take as well. And females are a bit smarter than guys. Guys will go out there and not think about the physical damage. Whereas I think girls think about those things a lot more than men do. So I think you get a lot of girls in the amateurs who just stop. Because I've seen some great amateurs and they just stop. Wow. They don't want to fight anymore. Like I saw a girl beat Delphine Passoon in the amateurs recently. Delphine Passoon tried to qualify for the Olympics again. Obviously, Delphine Passoon that beat Katie Taylor. She got smoked in the amateurs by some girl. And I'm thinking, that's what's there. And they just don't turn pro. They just don't want to. They just want to stop and, go into normal jobs, have kids, start a family. I think now that the money's come in, a lot of these girls might think, okay, let me stay pro for a little while, get that money then. So I think in a couple of years' time, I think when the money starts to increase, which it has done a little bit, I think we're going to see a lot of girls turn pro. And I think the depth is then going to get bigger and we're just going to see better fights, maybe even stretch the rounds to 3-minute rounds, get some knockouts or knockdowns. And I think everyone's going to get excited about it.
Absolutely. And you know what you said is so true with regards to them having other occupations outside of boxing, because I think Rachel Bourne was a social worker.
Yes.
Like a jury rep throughout the week. And then she tells all her colleagues, all right, tune into Sky Sports this Saturday because I'm going to be on. You know how crazy that is?
Crazy it is. That's a woman fighting for a world title. And she's a social worker. You got Ebony Bridges, who's a school teacher. Ebony Bridges, I think, is a maths or English teacher in Australia. I mean, so these girls, they're smart, intelligent girls, but they're having to juggle other careers. once enough money comes in to the point where they can go full time, we're then going to see completely different levels of athletes, like we do in MMA. You mentioned Ronda Rousey there, like you got Amanda Nunes, you got, you know, you're going to see the level in MMA is so much better, but that's because they are now fully full time. I think once you see these girls in boxing become fully full time, I think that the level is just going to go up and up and up, and we're going to see some fantastic fights.
Absolutely. Hopefully, with regards to women's boxing, a stigma can be erased, because I know there's a stigma there.
Yeah,
I've heard it from other sort of boxing channels as well. I know I didn't think there was there to begin with personally, but once I heard other people's opinions, I noticed that there is still a stigma there.
You know what it is as well, though, about the stigma. Sorry to interrupt you, brother. It isn't just the fact that some men think that the women's boxing is poor. I do think it is as well, is that some people are still uncomfortable to see females fight each other. Like,
Yes.
I have to be honest with you. I sometimes get uncomfortable. Like if I was to see two girls fighting on the street, I don't want to see that. You know what I mean? I want to, you know, you want to break it up, but we're so used to seeing men have scraps. So there is something uncomfortable to see a female with her eye bruised up like Ebony Bridges was and blood coming from the nose. I think men are still a bit uncomfortable with that. Whereas I think they kind of accepted Ronda Rousey in MMA because she used to just take people down and just quickly try and break their arm. So you didn't really get to see physical damage. So I think they're still a bit uncomfortable with seeing females hit each other. I think once you get over that, then I think we'll be okay.
That is so true. Yeah, that makes sense. It boils down to just that point. A lot of guys don't want to see women get hurt. And I think it's the idea of them going into a boxing ring and then trying to knock each other out. It's like a conflicting mindset amongst ourselves. So that makes complete sense. Now we're on to one of your favorite topics, drugs, yeah? Paddy Jack and Pascal. I'm saying that because I heard you talk about people getting popped dirty in the past, and you go in on these people, Paddy Jack and Pascal.
It's a shame. Look, it's a shame because I've liked John Pascal for many, many years. I remember when John Pascal came over here and fought Carl Froch for the WBC super middleweight strap back in the day. That must have been about 14 years ago. So I've followed Jean Pascal's career for a long time. Look, you don't have to be a genius to know that Jean Pascal was on something. I mean, his physical shape for a man of his age in boxing was always a bit suspicious. Look, I think a lot of people are dirty in this sport, and I nothing's going to deter them though. No one's getting 5-year bans in this sport of boxing. I mean, you're getting a year and a half max, and you think about it, a year is only 2 fights. I mean, these fighters don't fight 5 times a year unless you're Canelo. So even if you get a year ban, that's just 2 fights, and then you're back again. It means nothing. What's the deterrent? I mean, I watch athletics. These guys run the 100 meters. That's it, just a straight line for 100 meters. They will get 5 or 6 year bans if they're caught. 5 or 6 years. They're not hurting anyone. There's no physical fight. But guys that are going in there to hurt people, damage people, are getting 6 months. The pound for pound number 1 in the sport right now cheated and got a 6-month ban. He's the king right now. He's the highest paid boxer on the planet. Everyone loves him. Let's not forget this guy in the second Gennady Golovkin fight got caught. No one talks about it. Tyson Fury got caught. No one talks about it. Billy Joe Saunders got caught. People just ignore these things. Pacquiao. You know, Pacquiao is like the Lance Armstrong of boxing.
Yes, he is.
He's not been caught yet, but it will all come out eventually.
So 100%.
Yeah, man, boxing's just dirty. It's just a dirty business. But look, and I understand that dirty business, but all I'm asking for is if you catch them, can we give them longer bans? Can we deter the younger kid coming up that might think drugs? Or wait a minute, no, he got 5 years. I ain't trying to risk 5 years, you know. But if it's only a year or 6 months, you'll do it. If it's a 6-month ban, you're like, that's only a fight.
That's a stretch. It's an easy stretch.
Easy stretch, bruv. Easy stretch. You can still spar. You can still do your bag work, your road work. That's not going to deter you.
Do you know what? I can't believe that people actually sparred these guys after they got popped dirty. That part is bemusing to me. But you know what? Some boxers. Do you know how I see it? I see it as it depends. The length of your suspension very much depends on how much of this substance is actually in your body. Because I heard Dave Caldwell talking about this, and he said I think it was what's those cough medicines? Those cough sweets. It's one of those cough sweets. I think one of his fighters had that. Or was just about to have that. And he said, no, don't have that. That like has substances that can pop you dirty. I think Dylan White reportedly had a protein shake where it was like part of that protein shake had a substance that was like less than 1% or trace amounts that was on the banned list. But it's very difficult to equate that to a Pascal or a Jerome Miller. Jerome Miller should be banned for life personally. Jerome Miller should be made an example of. But I think there should be like a tier list. It's similar to how crimes are in the real world. If I push somebody, it's very different to me, I don't know, ripping them from limb for limb and then doing that kind of crime.
No, of course, you're right. I mean, look, there has to be some sort of tier system, right? I mean, there's cheating and then there's cheating. Do you know what I mean? There's like blood transfusions and EPO and, you know, all that kind of stuff like Jerome Miller took. There's all that. There's that level of cheating. And then there's someone that, you know, accidentally, possibly like in the case of Dylan White, and I think it was actually a thing called hydroxycut. So it was used to cut weight and that had something in it. So there's things like that, right? That's different. So there has to be a case of, you know, some sort of levels to it. But regardless, if it's a small cheat or a big cheat, I mean, remember boxing, like most sports, it's fine margins. We're talking about the finest of margins when it comes to win or defeat. You're talking about that little extra 1% when the going gets tough. Now that little cough sweet could be that 1%. It could be that, you know, and then that win could then propel you to make millions. So it's fine margins. But look, there needs to be, look, what boxing doesn't have, which other sports do have, and this is why boxing is never going to be a top sport. It doesn't have a world governing body. It's like the fucking wild west. Everyone can do what they want. There needs to be an overriding body that looks at these things. I mean, it's even Nevada or the British Boxing Board of Control or this or that. It's just nonsense. Anyone can literally do whatever they want. I mean, look at this arbitration with Wilder. Who's decided? Like, who makes these things up? Like, a world governing body should be the people that decide about an arbitration between Wilder and Fury, not some random American judge. That's why boxing's so fractured. That's why no one from the outside understands boxing. It's so confusing that you try and explain boxing to a casual fan and they're like, what? Like, what? So Wilder's not fighting who? How does that all make? It's all, boxing's crazy. I love the sport, but it's crazy. Like, anything goes. Money under the table to make a fight. Anything goes. Honestly.
My God.
It's a crazy
That's another
sport.
one.
It's crazy.
That is another one. I remember, what's his name? Dave Allen was supposed to fight Christopher Lovejoy back earlier last year.
Yes.
Of course, Christopher Lovejoy had a dispute with Don King and Eddie Hearn. Do you know what? It was so outwardly open about it that it was normal to us boxing fans. But if I wanted to explain that to a casual fan, it will sound so weird. Eddie Hearn, you know, offered to pay Don King sort of like a sweetener fee, maybe to kind of a good deal and have him on like another show. Imagine saying to any other industry, okay, like you got to just feel, you know what? Let me just give you a bit of money for you to go away, right? And then maybe I'll put you on another show as a bit of compensation. I saw it as normal. That's how.
Bro, you know how crazy it is, yeah? And that's what the example you're giving is great, but there's bigger examples. Like even the term step aside money. Like what? Oh yeah, let's give them 5 million step aside money. We've accepted that as the norm. That's crazy. Like, I'll pay Wilder 20 million, he'll step aside. What? This is sport. It's like saying the New York Knicks are playing the Cleveland Cavaliers, but the Golden State Warriors want to play. Let's give the Cleveland Cavaliers 20 million step aside money to play. What are we talking about? It's all boxing needs to fix up because it's a fantastic sport when it goes right. I think we saw it like the Canelo Saunders fight. Look how amazing that looked. Everything looked fantastic, the build up. But when it goes wrong, it's just like it's off-putting. It really is off-putting because it's difficult to explain when it does go wrong why you like the sport. And it's difficult. It's very, very difficult.
Yeah. Speaking about arbitration, man, and the 20 million pounds episode, that one, like I said earlier, you went from having champagne to whiskey within 24 hours. That's what boxing will do to you. Now, to a casual mind, Fury shouldn't have fought Wilder to begin with. Why is he fighting Wilder to begin? He should have fought, like, imagine this was like a league system or like a tier system. He should have fought everyone else before he even fought Wilder. He basically just jumped the queue, fought Wilder. They got into bed with each other. They're having a bit of tit for tat. Now we're all of a sudden in arbitration, and I think there's some. Eddie Hearn says something stinks here. I'm gonna be honest. There's a lot of things going for these people outside of boxing that it's a bit questionable. I'll tell you that. I'll just leave it as that because Addy don't want to get cancelled. I don't want to cancel Addy, but there's some people behind the scenes that are doing
Oh, okay. Okay. There's a couple of things we need to kind of understand as well. Boxing is a sport that was built by the mafia in America.
Yes.
Right. So this is this is a mafia sport, race. I mean, they controlled it. They still probably do to an extent control the sport that way. So nothing will shock me when it comes to boxing. Nothing at all. Do I think the Americans wanted to see a heavyweight fight in the Middle East? No. Do I think Bob Arum really wanted it to go on over there? No. You know what I mean? I've never seen Bob Arum so happy for a fight to not happen in the Middle East. And all of a sudden, the fight's happening in America and, the American heavyweight is going to take on the Brit heavyweight. It's almost like they didn't want it to go on over there. Nothing surprises me in this sport. If I'm honest with you, and it shouldn't surprise anyone else either. I mean, again, this is not to dig at Canelo. The pound for pound number one failed a drug test and everyone's forgot about it. I mean, that happens in anything else. Think of any other sport like that happens. It's not forgotten that quick. I don't know. Boxing isn't. You know what it is? I don't think the world cares about boxing as much as we think. Now, boxing to us is very important. Yes. I think to the outside world, it's actually not that important when it comes to being a big sport anymore. It doesn't make the back pages like it used to. It really doesn't. Like this Tyson Fury AJ thing being cancelled, that was massive for us boxing fans. It didn't even scratch the surface on news. It's like, oh, AJ ain't fighting Fury. And that was it, really. It's like, it's strange how to us we think it's really big. To other people, it's like, yeah, but the Champions League final's coming in a couple of weeks. Or the Euros are happening. England have got their squad to announce. NBA finals are in full swing now. I just don't know if it means as much as we think it does to other people, which is why no one really investigates. When you said, okay, I don't want Eddie to get cancelled, I don't want to say a couple of things. I don't think no one even really investigates the stories. Look at when someone tried to investigate, what's that Irish guy now? I can't remember his name again.
Daniel Kinahan.
Daniel Kinahan. It was on BBC Panorama. Everyone was talking about it. It vanished after a couple of days. No one really cares. No one really cares. They honestly, they do not care.
That's why I think Eddie Hearn in the future is trying to do something with the zone to basically collide the sport into one big entity as opposed to these other guys. Because these other guys, what I've noticed, all of the top fighters in the world is what Canelo, AJ, etc. On sort of the American side, a lot of their fighters are actually older. Errol Spencer's 36 years old or something. If I'm 36 years old,
Errol Spence. Errol Spence like 31, 30.
Really?
Yeah, Terence Crawford's like 35, so maybe the other way around.
That's Terence
it.
Maybe
I'll get age, I think. Yeah,
maybe I get a mistake with that. Deontay Wilder is of 34 years, 35 years of age. So I think gradually over time, I think the fighters will all collate onto one big. With the zone, I've never seen so many fighters under one specific network with the zone. And I think it's just going to add more people to the roster as well. But with regards to just the arbitration and everything, should AJ, because I was hearing Eddie the other day, and he was saying, look, we don't want to be told what to do. Yeah. We don't want to be bossed around. We are the top dogs. Yeah. And we're getting told to go here. To be honest with you, I don't see that as a big problem. Man, like UEFA control the big football clubs around the world, and they get told where to play the Champions League final, or you play at home here, you play this here. So I don't see a governance of a high level profile as a big big issue. But should AJ vacate the WBO title? Because I'm a bit skeptical about AJ vacating WBO title, and then Usyk then goes on to take the WBO, and then it's now fragmented again, and everything goes all over the place, back how it used to be.
With regards to the AJ even thinking about vacating the WBO, for me, you only vacate that belt if it's in the way of you fighting someone bigger. So if it's stopping AJ from having a big fight, then yeah, vacate. But it's not. The big fight was Fury or Wilder. They're fighting. So there's not a bigger fight for AJ to have, in my eyes, apart from Usyk. Now, Usyk's that next big guy. Financially, maybe Dillian White financially is a bit more bigger. Maybe Dillian White does a couple of more pay-per-views than Usyk. Maybe he sells more tickets because the casual fans know Dillian White a lot more than the Usyk. But it's not that much more, right? It's not that much bigger. So, look, if I'm AJ, there's absolutely no way I vacate. Look, there is still a chance of an undisputed. Whoever he fights out of the winner or Fury Wilder, there's a chance of it somehow happening. So I think, and look, having spoke to AJ, he doesn't want to vacate. He thinks he's worked hard for these belts. He doesn't want to vacate. And the thing is, if he does vacate, what's everyone going to say? They're going to call him a duck. They're going to say he's ducking Usyk. And I don't think he wants that either. So you only vacate if it's stopping you from doing something bigger. And let's be honest, White isn't bigger than Usyk. Not for a boxing fan anyway. I've seen AJ White. I wouldn't mind seeing it again, but I'd rather see AJ Usyk now. That's got more intrigue for me as a boxing fan. But in terms of money, White could be more financially rewarding. And that's the only reason I think he'd vacate.
Yeah, you're right. White is probably slightly a bit more money globally as well to fight. But Usyk is the undisputed cruiserweight champion, or former undisputed cruiserweight champion. And to beat somebody like him, it does better for your record than beating Dillian White for the second time.
It could be the biggest thing on the resume. I mean, look, look, some people might say Klitschko, some people might say him getting his belts back from Andy Ruiz, which is all well and good. But Usyk's a danger. Like, again, it's almost a case of, for your resume and your career and where it stands when you look back in 20 years, Usyk's the name. Dillian White won't be one of those. AJ gets no credit for what he for beating Dillian White before, so he's not going to get credit for beating Dillian White now.
No.
Like, people don't think Dillian White's that good. I mean, he's a good boxer, but I don't think he's like, oh my God, you know. So
Andy, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a huge Dillian White fan.
I know you are. I know you are. That's why I had to go there. I had to dig you.
I put Dillian.
Yeah.
For me, I'd have him top 4 heavyweights in the world currently. Okay, the reason why I had that.
Okay. Now let me quickly come in there. I agree, right? And you're a football guy, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Chelsea fan.
Cool. Good. This is good. Okay, cool. So in the Premier League, I'm trying to think, top 10, I think Everton finished 10th, I think. Then the next space down, I think, was Villa. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that the gap between 10th and 11th was like 10 points. It was like a big gap. So it's almost like saying someone's 10th, someone's 11th. But yeah, you're a distant 11th. So yeah, it was one, we were close, but you're a distant. I'm with you. Dillian White could be the 4th best heavyweight, but the gap between him and the top 3, I think, is big. I think Dillian White's closer to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 than he is to 1, 2, 3. Like, someone could easily make an argument. So, like, Dillian White will be competitive, I think, with Hrgovic and Usyk, and it's close between all those. I think we saw it in the first Povetkin fight. It's close. Dillian White's he's not away from those guys. Whereas I think Fury, Wilder, and AJ are further afield. Maybe not so much Wilder, but Fury and AJ, I think, are further afield. So yes, he's 4th, but he's a distant 4th. But he's definitely 4th. I'm with you.
I see it as the top 2 being like, you know how it was, I think it was last season or the season before, being Liverpool and City right at the top, away from the rest of the pack.
Yes.
I see it as Fury and AJ above that. And I think Wilder is actually not too far away from Dillian White. And the reason why I say that is because the tactics that Fury beat Deontay with can easily be transferred and applicable for White to beat Wilder with. And I think it's transferable.
I'm not having that. No, I can't have that. Like White's boxing, like, even in that second Povetkin fight, White's wild as hell, you know. Like, he is wild as hell. I mean, he was throwing some punches, and I was like, dude, come on, man, you've been boxing for a hot minute now. Let me see some technique on this stuff. I think what I like about White is this, he's almost like a gunslinger. White will just, he comes in there ready for war. But I think in order to beat someone like a Deontay Wilder, I mean, you got to set traps, you got to make him miss, and then he's got to pay. I don't know if White can do. I'd love to see that fight. Like, I don't even know if White can beat Andy Ruiz. If I'm honest with you, I don't know if White can beat Andy Ruiz. I'm not sure. I want to see it. I'm not 100% sure White can beat Hrgovic. These are fights I want to see. I'd rather see those fights than White versus AJ or White versus Fury.
Yeah, after all of these, with White, with AJ fighting Usyk, hopefully we could have a White versus a Joe Joyce, a White versus a Filip Hrgovic, because Filip Hrgovic is looking for an opponent. Ironically,
I think they're going to go Trevor Bryan personally. In America, they said that Dillian White's going to have a fight in America. I think he's going to fight Trevor Bryan, who's the WBA ranked #1, so he can get to that mandatory spot. He wants an easier fight. He's openly come out and said he doesn't care if people diss him. He says, I want like an easy fight. Everyone, he laughed at Fury fighting Schwartz and Volin, saying, I want that type of fight. He's getting paid still. I want that kind. I don't want to have tough fight, because he's had tough fights back to back now, White, for a while. And I think he just wants something a bit more easier, and then a big one, maybe against Hrgovic or Joe Joyce. So I think they're going to have a kind of welcome to America fight. I know he's fought there once before, but now as a known name against a Trevor Bryan, who's a bit known in America.
Yeah, hopefully you should be with White. I think hopefully it's not going to be a coming to America like an AJ coming to America. I don't want that kind of coming to America. I want a Fury type of coming to America, not with Ruiz, because that was a rough day. I couldn't speak for like a week. After that, I was just like, no one chatted to me.
What about me? How do you think I felt? How do you think I felt? I was in South Africa at the time as well, and I just couldn't believe it, if I'm honest with you. I was like, what's just happened here? Like, I actually couldn't believe it. Although, I will say this, though. I went to go and speak to his amateur trainer 2 weeks ago. I done a sit-down interview with his amateur trainer.
Yeah.
This is AJ's amateur trainer. And he 100% said something was not right with AJ in the lead up to that fight, and they are going to reveal it all. And they're going to reveal it all, whatever. I don't know what that. I don't know, but that's what he said.
When I saw him, when I saw AJ, I said, you know, when you see somebody walk down the same path, and I see this guy again, I said, this is not AJ. I said, I don't know who this guy is. They got Femi from one of his cousins or one of his twin brothers, Femi, to get into the ring, because that wasn't AJ. This guy, I don't know who this guy is, fam. He went in.
It was so strange.
Like weird,
honestly, it was so strange. I remember how upset his dad was. Like, his dad knew something was going on. I feel like everyone's been sworn to silence, and I even feel like his trainer, who is, remember, this is his amateur trainer, by the way, not Rob McCracken, who's is a bit reckless with his words. Maybe he wasn't even supposed to say that to us, but it came out. And I was like, okay, did anyone hear that? Was that just me? So it'd be interesting to see what that actually is, what happened. Or maybe AJ don't even want it to come out. AJ is the kind of person where I think he'll just keep it moving.
Absolutely. And then the last topic I want to speak to you about was Floyd versus Logan. Now, I remember when you probably covered you covered the KSI versus the Logan Paul fight. Like, you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
And then you weren't that big at that time.
No.
And I remember, like, for me, being like a YouTube fan of some of these guys, I grew up on KSI. I grew up on actually Joe Weller from like when I was about 14, 50 years old. So I knew, like, I was watching these guys from the get-go. And I saw their fight in the Copper Box. And now this is all transpired to Logan Paul versus Floyd. I know the hardcore boxing fans, their opinion is this is a mockery of boxing, etc. I actually don't think it's such a bad idea. I ain't gonna lie. I'm one of the very, very, very few people that don't think this is a bad idea. The reason why I say this is because these guys bring a standard to boxing that makes everybody else not only raise their game, but they bring more eyes to the sport of boxing. I remember since the Jake Paul fight had the other day with Thriller, the production on that fight was then replicated with the Zone and Canelo in their production. I've noticed once they started doing the Thriller fights, everybody else's production just went up a notch, went to 8K, went to a new level. These guys bring more eyes to the sport boxing. Now they're doing a TikTok versus a YouTube event. I know this is probably something that is quite foreign to you, the YouTube versus a TikTokers event.
I saw it, Michael, but I saw Michael Buffer. I can't believe what's going on. But you know what it is? One thing I will say, sorry to interrupt you, bro. One thing I will say is like, make your money. Go out there. If you like, go out there and do it, man. Like Logan Paul was being interviewed, by the way. And I actually don't mind Logan. I can't stand Jake. I don't mind Logan. Logan's a bit more of a mellow character for me that I can actually just feel like I can have a conversation with. But I get what Jake's doing. It's working, right? I mean, you're tuning in to see him lose. It's working. So whatever he's doing is working. And I think a lot of boxers can follow what they do in terms of how they promote themselves, how they do their YouTube videos, behind the scenes stuff. But Logan was like, someone asked him about, like, do you deserve this? And he says, yes, I do. Not from a boxing standpoint, but Floyd wouldn't have chosen me to fight him if he didn't realize what value I bring to the market. He brings a value to the market. Floyd's choosing him because he knows this guy's worth. He knows what this guy brings. Yes, from a boxing standpoint, he doesn't deserve to be anywhere near the ring. We get all that. But from a commercial standpoint, it's entertaining. And this guy puts bums on seats. People will buy the pay-per-view. Look at Sky. Sky have took it. Sky have took the pay-per-views. So like the Pauls know exactly what they're doing, that they're fantastic for the sport. I mean, the hardcore boxing fans, they need to understand they're in the minority. There's more casual boxing fans than hardcore boxing fans. It's just how it is. And if hardcore boxing fans don't want to watch it, no one's forcing, don't watch it. Like I might not watch it. I have to admit, it's not really my thing, but credit to them, man. Again, they've gone from, like you say, copper box and, you know, KSI versus, he's gone from fighting KSI to fighting Floyd in a year and a half. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely, he called out Floyd and he's got his wish. It's incredible. And he's smart in a way as well, because Floyd's not the kind of fight to hurt you. You know what I mean? It's not like he's calling out someone that could, like Pacquiao. Pacquiao will hurt you. Floyd will just embarrass you and eventually the ref will stop it. That's it. So he's going to take his licks and get paid 20 million. Good luck. Well done.
I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind taking, if they offered me less than a quarter of that, I would have said, cool, say no more. We'll take my licks and we'll go. Floyd, if it's like a Mike Tyson from back in the day, okay, then I'll be a bit more skeptical.
Then you say no. Yeah, you say no because you know that as soon as that switch gets flipped with Mike Tyson, anything could happen. I mean, this guy bit off Evander Holyfield's ear. Anything could happen in that ring. You say no. With Floyd, Floyd's a cool dude. He ain't trying to hurt you. Floyd's a small guy. He ain't gonna hurt you like that. Maybe he'll put you down with a body shot, and that's it. It's all said and done. And what's the worst? You get beat by Floyd. Who cares? Everyone gets beat by Floyd. This is a win-win. Unless something, obviously, that we pray that nothing seriously happens to Logan. But this is a win-win. I mean, like, you were a YouTuber making little videos, not little, obviously, I mean, videos in the sense of they were doing big numbers, but it wasn't like this. This is crazy. And you gone from that to fighting Floyd Mayweather. It's incredible.
Incredible. These guys were on Nickelodeon. If you're unaware, these guys went from going on children's TV shows to now fighting Floyd Mayweather on pay-per-view on Sky Sports box office.
Bruv, it's what dreams are made of. And look, and credit to them as well. I mean, like you said, they were on Nickelodeon. That, you know, these guys were rich before boxing. It's not like these guys were short of money. They're doing the hardest thing you can do to earn more money, which is box. Like they've got to get in shape. Both of them are in great shape. Logan's in incredible shape. I mean, they built a gym in Puerto Rico. They've employed people. Wow. I don't know what everyone's angry for. They're doing good things, man. I'm not embarrassed about what they're doing at all. I think people need to just get with it. All these boxers out here that are shit at social media and don't know what to do to promote themselves and are just hoping that Eddie Hearn speaks for them. They need to get out there and start promoting yourself. Go and do what Conor Ben does. Conor Ben's got a YouTube channel that's doing really good things right now. I watch it all the time. And Conor Ben's definitely going to be the biggest name in British boxing in the next couple of years, or one of them. But he's already out there doing stuff. He's already out there thinking, okay, I need to do more. He's in America right now, sparring some good fighters. He's doing things. A lot of boxers just wait for a promoter to give them a call and, oh, he'll promote my fight. Promote yourself. Do it yourself first. You know, YouTube's free, Instagram's free, Twitter's free. Do something crazy.
Bro, they could do so much. Like, AG was one of the first ones putting stuff out on YouTube in regards to just like motivational stuff, him working out, etc.
Yeah.
Some of these guys, like, some of these guys don't even know Josh Taylor is Scottish. Like, that's the level where they're not really promoting themselves, or they can maybe like you said, they can start YouTube, they could do like, I don't know, Twitter polls or Twitter posts. They could do, there's so much they can do.
Bro, you could literally hire a university student to follow you around and pay him a couple of quid here and there and do a day in the life of, and just let us see what it is like, how you live before a boxing camp. What do you eat? How do you get down in your weight? Go shopping, what it's like. Show us all that stuff. You know, even if you don't talk to the camera, let us just watch what you do. It's so easy to promote. That's why none of these boxers can come at the Paul brothers, because these people are trying their hardest to promote. They promote the shit out of themselves. Even Jake Paul the other day, stupidly stealing Floyd's hat. No, that's not wrong. No. Yeah, obviously, look, it's a risky thing to do, and he took a couple of licks for it, but that blew the internet up. That taking the hat was worth the licks. It was worth the licks because it blew it up. Now everyone that didn't know is like, who the hell is this Jake? What the hell? It's crazy what he did. Smart. Yeah. Now all of a sudden, Floyd wants to fight him. So Floyd could beat Logan, and now Floyd's like, I want your other brother. I want the real boxer, Jake. Get him. Just because he stole my... Smart, man.
These guys, that's what I'm saying. Boxers should take notes from these guys as opposed to just cussing them. Get your notebook out. See what they do. See how they edit. See how they do all of this stuff. How they promote themselves as fight. Because they promote their fight. So maybe you should watch and promote their fight instead of saying, nah, this is not real boxing. Because there's a sort of a caveman mentality where we're all fighting to the death. This is like an old school, like a Colosseum war, and all of this promotional stuff. It's taken away from the authenticity of boxing. Where, to be fair, we're in a new age. The Zone is about to take over the game with regards to the UK. Things not been announced, but we know what's going on. Thriller is now becoming a huge investment in the game as well with regards to boxing. I just can't wait for what the future holds as well. Just a quick last prediction: Hailey Linares.
It's gonna be a good fight. Look, I remember seeing Linares. I was actually at the O2 Arena when Linares fought Kevin Mitchell many years ago. And it was a really back and forth fight, like real war. Kevin Mitchell actually hurt him. Linares went down. Since then, Linares has had a couple of really tough fights. Obviously, Loma, tough fight, but caused Loma so many problems, put Loma down. Luke Campbell fight, tough fight as well. Linares is super sharp, but age doesn't wait for anyone. Linares is also getting on, and he's had a few wars, and making 135 pounds at his age is not going to be easy. Devin Haney's a younger, the fresher, and probably the naturally bigger fighter. So Devin Haney should win. But so I'm predicting a Devin Haney stoppage late. But Devin Haney needs a performance. He needs a performance because every one of these guys in and around him have had performances. I mean, Ryan Garcia, Luke Campbell, Teofimo Lopez, Loma, Javonte Davis going down to 130 and smashing Leo Santa Cruz. Javonte Davis now fighting Barrios at 140. So Devin Haney's got a world title, but no one still looks at him as a world champion. He needs a big performance. And then even after that, he needs another one. Linares isn't enough unless he stops him early. He needs another one to play catch up right now, because I feel like he's behind them guys, because those guys have all had a big win recently.
100%. The 135 division is very stacked. And Haley is getting the Buatsi sort of treatment where he's not fighting top caliber fighters. And he's basically being left behind by his peers. And with Haley,
it's worse than the Buatsi treatment, because Buatsi's not got a belt. At least, Buatsi's not a world champion, so we can't even say, Buatsi at least. I think we know there's limitations, I think, there with Buatsi, but he's not got a belt yet. For me, when you're world champion, show me something. I want to see something, because you're world champion in a division that's red hot. So I want to see something in that. I want to see what you've got because you should be the king of it. And right now, you're not even the king. You're not the prince. Right now, oh no, man, you're the main servant. I want to see something.
Exactly. I think he can. I think he beat Linares. I just don't think. I question Hades' power. I really do question Hades' power. His in comparison to his peers with regards to the Teofimo Lopez, his ability and his power, especially with Ryan Garcia and his body shots.
Yeah.
I question Hades' outright power. So I think he'll win, but I think it'll be more so as a points decision.
Okay.
In a very similar fashion to Josh Taylor, where he won by points decision. I think it's going to be very, very similar. I don't think Linares will cause Haley trouble because I think Haley will because of his background in his amateur career, and I think that would sort of help him read the room, download the information whilst he is in a fight, jab and move, and he's very good. His footwork is immense. His footwork, his skill, his ability to slip shots, and be on the middle outside of the ring and pop off his shots effectively, but not being counter punched and leaving yourself open. He's very good at that defensive.
Very good though. Very good. At what level? Everyone can look good. Like I remember when Andre Berto was coming up, and I was like, "Oh my god, Andre Berto is amazing." Okay, but at what level? Like, are we talking? Let's from a football analogy, are we talking League One level? So yeah, okay, we know he's above League One. Are we talking Championship level? Or are we talking Premier League? What level was he good at? And like that footwork and that speed is okay and well and good, but we need to get to the B and A level fighters for me to know. Oh, okay, you still got it. Like Teofimo is beat Loma now, so we like okay. Teofimo's power and footwork and speed is A level because he beat an A level fighter. Devin Haney's footwork and speed is good, but we've only seen it against C level guys. Let's see how good it is against a B level tonight in Linares, and then an A level before we start saying things like he's got amazing footwork and his speed. Because man, everyone's got that at the B level. Everyone's got speed. I'm not joking. He's a world champion, he's got to have that. But what have you got against the A level guys? Then I'll know. Okay, that's speed. Yo, did you see that against that speed? I mean, that's what I've got to see. So I don't want to give him those things yet until after tonight. If I see crazy speed and footwork and power against Linares, who's a good B-level fighter, then I'll say, okay, yeah, cool, man's got that speed. But against the biggest name is Gamboa, and Gamboa is like 40. So I need to see something. I need to see something a bit more tonight, and then, the early hours of this morning, and then I can start giving him those plaudits.
This is giving me Billy Joe Saunders deja vu all over again. Both having world championship or having fighting C-level fighters. Yeah. Hopefully Haley wins. And do you know what? There's a lot of fights out there for him. Lomachenko, I don't know what Lomachenko's doing. He's just there.
He's got a fight. Loma's got a fight end of July. I can't remember the guy's name, but he's fighting end of July, Loma.
Okay. That's perfect then. He's fighting. That's perfect. Maybe schedule a fight with a Lomachenko or schedule a fight with Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, to be honest with you, he should be undisputed champion. But because of boxing politics, and I don't watch like outside politics because I don't like to get myself into that kind of world. But I thought I left that outside. Now I'm in boxing, WBC franchise champion, and that kind of malarkey means that Teofimo Lopez is not undisputed when he should be. But for him, that's fine. He could just fight a Devin Haney and then become undisputed. Then he should then step up to 147, of course, with Josh Taylor. I think Josh Taylor should then not 147. He should step up to 140, and I think Josh Taylor should also step up to 147. I think everybody should be going upwards, not once you're undisputed at that weight class. I don't see it as you should be going down the weight classes, especially for Teofimo Lopez. He's got, he's got Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. There's a lot of people for him to fight. So I'd prefer a Josh Taylor to go upwards and Teofimo Lopez to clean up the division and then go to 140 division. But yeah, Haley for me, I've got more high hopes for Haney just from a pure ability standpoint, but he needs to prove himself. He needs to prove himself. Otherwise, it's all going to be potential until you get smacked in the face, and now you're fighting what's B and C level fighters over and over again for the rest of your career.
Yeah,
it's pointless. It's pointless. But thank you very much, Ade. This has been It's been a while, 1 hour, but thank you very much for your time.
no stress, my brother.
I
Really enjoyed it, man.
Really appreciate it, guys. If you haven't done it already, head over to Ade's channel, Ade OLADIPO. Yeah. 30K by September. Listen, don't forget 30K by end of July. Yeah, September is too far away, man. September is like, come on, man, you could do it, man. 100%.
No, we done it. It'll be done. I mean, we're gonna get to 27,000 by the end of. I think my YouTube's telling me I'll get to 27,000 by kind of mid-June. So we'll get there. We'll get there. It's just I just have to keep making videos. I'm too lazy right now, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I was supposed to do the Linares Haney live watch long tonight, and I'm like, I can't do it. I ain't staying up till 4 in the morning. I ain't doing it.
Yeah,
so,
the watch along is going to be like, it's going to be a funny watch along. Once you're up at 4 in the morning, you're going to be like, you're just going to be dozing off, waking back up.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. I mean, like, it's a big fight, but it ain't that big for me to stay up until 4:35 a.m. So I'll do my Sunday sessions tomorrow, which should be fun. And then we'll just kick on with the week as well. What we got. I'm taking a week off work next week as well, just to have a little breather. So it should be fun.
Do you know what, Ade? You need it, man. But in between the documentary, to be fair, I would be pissed if I was in your, but not pissed, but I'll be kind of disheartened with the idea of doing a documentary.
Bruv. You know, I'm disheartened because I went to the gym. I saw him. The cameras are there. That took work. You're getting the questions ready, all the effort that's going on, and then it just done. And I'm like, what? You know, I spoke to his cousin, I spoke to the trainer, AJ. It's just, and then it's like not happening. It's like, okay, cool, thank you. But it's life. It's life. We move on, right? I mean, it's not the end of the world. I mean, Usyk versus AJ would still be a great fight, and so would Fury Wilder. Everyone would tune in for both fights, so people can get angry, but let's be honest, we'll still tune in for both. Both would do good numbers, so it's not the end of the world. But and look, we've had some good fights this year as well. We've got Spence Pacquiao coming up. Looks like we've got Canelo versus Caleb Plant coming up. So it ain't the worst thing, but obviously I'm greedy. I want to see AJ Fury.
I wanted to see it for 2 years, every other month. AJ Fury. Now it's presented to us right in front of us. It's taken away from us.
It's been ripped away. But again, this is boxing. You know, it made me drink that night. I was like, I need to go to the bottle. You know what I mean? Like you said, I went from champagne to whiskey straight. I was like, yo, I need a drink. This is too stressful. But
champagne to whiskey.
I don't know, man. We've had a good year, and I think the year's still gonna have some surprises in it as well. So can't complain too tough.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I agree. It's going to be good fights this year. Like I said, everybody, head over to Ade OLADIPO's channel. Yeah, subscribe to him.
Smash that button.
Smash that button. Ade's got big coming. He's got a whole setup coming.
Yeah, guys, keep it quiet. Yeah, there's surprise.
Listen,
yeah,
Ade. Yeah, he's going to listen. Ade's already an OG, yeah, but Ade's going to go from OG to like untouchable level.
Yeah, we want to go to Godfather level soon. We're gonna go. I'm gonna look back on this video. What's the day? 29th, and say, remember when I said I'm gonna go to Godfather levels? And yeah, that's what I'm doing. So I put it out there what I'm doing just so I can put pressure on myself. I want to put pressure on myself. That's why I tell people I'm going to this, I'm going to that, because I know I get lazy and I stop, but I feel like I put it out there now. I've got to try. So we're going Godfather level soon. So we just got going. OG, but I've just got going.
Listen, Ade, yeah, Dr. Dre of this whole boxing thing, yeah. Thank you very much for attending as well. If you haven't done it already, please click the subscribe button. Follow me across all my social media platforms at Off the Cameras Boxing on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. All of that will be in the link in the description box below. Well, peace, love, and prosperity, guys. And I will catch you guys in a bit. Peace.